all doing tonight?
Yes.
This is it's an emotional night for a lot of us, and I'm not feeling like my son's. Give me a second.
Feel better? No band.
How you all doing tonight? I feel like myself. As most of you know, I started 10 years ago. The big ugly J.D. Bishop was my trainer. He taught me how to wrestle. He taught me what to do. But Flaco, the lessons he taught me were more abstract. Flaco taught me a life lesson that I would like to pass on to each and every one of you tonight. And that is that in life, stuff matters as much as you treat it like it matters. If you act like something matters, it doesn't. Your relationship, your health. If you treat something like it matters, your company, your ring, your friends, this business, then it becomes the most important thing in the world to you. And that is what it has done to me, and I have tried to pass on. Flaco has taught me that everything matters. You don't need to be 6'5". No. You don't need to be ripped. What you need to do is love this business and give everything to it. I have been feuding with this man for 10 damn years, and it will never end as far as I am concerned. And as I look out there, I just want to say that I see a lot of people who hate my guts, and I'm fine with that. A lot of people who don't respect me, who rip me apart, and that used to bother me, but I recently realized that as long as I have the respect of a man like Flaco Loco, it doesn't matter how many people hate me in this earth, because I am doing all right. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, my enemy, Flaco Loco.
Thank you. Mr. Alexander, I'm going to try and give you a run for the money. So get comfortable, everyone. I can't believe that my name is honestly being mentioned in the same breath as Bison Smith and Bryan Ward and the big ugly J.D. Bishop. I'm honored and humbled beyond words. I'm going to cry like a baby too, so get ready for that. The first person I want to thank for this tremendous honor is my wife. She came into my life towards the end of my wrestling career, but she always supported it. You know, I hooked her when I told her I was an elementary school teacher. I intrigued her when I said I was also in a punk rock band, and I think I frightened her a little when I said I was a masked Mexican wrestler. But she told me, she said, Danny, you have your music friends, you have your teaching friends, and you have your wrestling friends. And of all those friends, I love your wrestling friends. And that's when I knew I picked a winner. And that's why when I proposed to her, I was in a room full of wrestlers. A couple of people I want to thank that you may not know. I created this character, Flaco Loco, in 1996 when I was working at a video store in Sacramento called Cinemania. And it was owned by a couple of people named RJ and Lisa Galentine. And we specialized in martial arts movies, horror movies, and 1970s porn. Riv and Flaco would have loved it. And we also had the largest tape selection of pro wrestling videos, and I was proud to be that. And I created this character called Flaco Loco, who was a big mouth, alcoholic, porn addicted jerk. I know, a big stretch, but I started doing that there. We would do these live window displays where I would sit in the window and drink Tecate and eat pork rinds and watch wrestling and flip off people as they walked past. That was our way of letting us know we were there. Keith Lowell Jensen, who's a stand-up comedian, an author, and an independent filmmaker, he would always include me in these little skits that we would film. There's a movie called Why Lie, I Need a Drink, and there's footage of me holding a sign saying, "We'll wrestle for food." And I want to thank Keith for letting me be a part of his life. Audra Morse, who is a promoter for Incredibly Strange Wrestling. Incredibly Strange Wrestling was like Hood Slam, except the difference is Hood Slam is run and worked by trained wrestlers. To kind of give you an idea where the talent level was for ISW, I was considered the high-flying technical wrestler. I had the best second rope crossbody plancha you've ever seen. Fucking poetry in motion there. But I want to thank Audra for the experience of getting to wrestle in front of thousands of people, and getting to share that experience with my friends Bobby Jordan, Tom Hutchison, Aaron McDonald, and Kevin Seconds. And I got to meet Shane Dynasty thanks to ISW. In 1999, down the street from my house, there was a promotion that just started up, Sacramento Pro Wrestling. And I was so excited because it was just down the street from my house, and I went to the show, and it sucked. But I gave them another chance. They came back the next month, and I went again, and it still sucked. But there was one wrestler, and his name was the Big Ugly. There were two wrestlers, actually. There was the Big Ugly and Chupacabra. They kind of looked similar, except one of them wore a mask. But I know they weren't the same person. Anyway, I created this character at a drunken haze one night, but the Big Ugly made El Flaco Loco. He let me be the biggest heel in his company. He let me be the biggest face in his company, and more importantly, he gave me the ball and let me be the face of his company. And I will never be able to repay him and thank him enough for that honor. And Ugly, you made me, and I can never, ever repay you for that gift. As I started training, in Stockton in this little warehouse for this promotion called RPW, and I got to work with guys by the name of Mr. GSWA, Baby Ray, Clint Douglas, Joe Average, Wicked, Jesus the Brown Snake Cruz, El Pachuco, Main Event Mike Daniel, Dangerous Dylan, Rabia Evangelico. These were the guys that I was learning to respect the art of professional wrestling with. And guys, I just want you to know that after those shows, when I went and partied and hung out in the hotel rooms and all that, and I kept my mask on, I wasn't fading you. I was doing it because girls thought it was hot. We had a brother promotion, North American Wrestling, where I got to meet guys like Bulldog Brian Raymond, Professor Poindexter, this asshole named Dante, this guy Mike Matrix, Ollie, Mike Rain, all of these guys, they were our brothers on the road. We traveled there to wrestle for them. They travel up to wrestle for us. I want to thank the promoters who booked me, from SBW, Mark Tornator and the late Richard Roby. From RPW, Dave Touchstone, Bryan Ward from NAW. I can still hear Bryan going, Flaco, just go out there and piss him off. And also Zach Reed from PCW. When I worked for Zach, you gotta understand the wrestling environment was completely different. Back then, guys from SBW couldn't even step foot in the APW garage. You know, we worked with a couple of promotions, but it was really, I mean, those territory lines were firmly drawn. And Zach, for whatever reason, whether he was doing it to piss off Ugly or whether he liked me, I don't know, I don't care. I want to thank Zach for letting me come and piss off the PCW crowds to the point where I needed an escort to get back to my car. Because I was too stupid to just take my fucking mask off. Because once again, girls thought it was hot. Brian Brigger from Coastal Pro Wrestling, Frank Murdoch from Pro Wrestling Iron, all the promoters in Oregon, Jesus Cruz and his Lucha Libre Khalifa promotions. I'd like to thank three people, Will Blackwood, Rob Wiles, and Will Loudon for being the epitome of what a pro wrestling promoter is not. I still remember the day when Chupacabra, the one that looked kind of like Big Ugly, took a suicide dive and took a bad spill, and I heard one of those guys utter under his breath, "I hope he broke his fucking neck. I will never forgive you for that, you piece of shit." Sorry for the kids. I want to thank Mike Quackenbush from Chikara Wrestling and Colt Cabana for always plugging my band. My mask maker, Iron Mike Woody, who's been my mask maker for 12 years. I want to thank legends like Mustafa, Road Warrior Animal, and Big Money Bill Monroe for taking the time to talk to us and telling me, slow down. And it wasn't the things I was doing in the ring, because I was going full speed, but it was really slow. But Big Money Bill Monroe would tell me, slow down when you're talking out there. You got a lot to say. People need to hear it. And so thank you, Big Money. And the one veteran who I want to tell a story about is when I'm still a wrestling mark, not when I was. As a wrestling mark, one of my favorite independent wrestlers was the Bad Apple from Hell's Kitchen, Joe Applebomber. Whenever I went to a show, I was so happy that he was there. And then as I got to know him and got to work with him, I was being an undeniable prick to him for quite a while. And he called me up one afternoon because he had to squash some beef, just typical Joe, boom, boom, gimmick, that he just had to talk to me to tell me what a dick I was to him. And during the course of that conversation, I confessed to Joe that I was going through something, and that I was taking care of my father, who was dying from cancer. And the tone of the conversation changed. And Joe, we spoke on the phone for about an hour, and he told me what it was like taking care of his mom. And this giant tattooed beast of a man just opened his heart. And I'll never, ever forget what a beautiful man Joe Applebomber was to me, and how I will always thank him for being there as a sign of support that the pro wrestling community gave me during one of the worst times of my life. Thank you, Joe. Oh shit.
I love you too, Cuzzy.
Yeah!
The SPW boys, Sal Tomaselli, Bruce Bukaki, Handsome Jack, Steve Stam, Tommy Tsunami, Johnny Onyx, you might know him as John Morrison, Kryptonite, my greatest in-ring rival, and Timothy Thatcher, who, when I first met him, he was just a reporter for the Sac State newspaper. Who knew that he had such a sexy torso? My wife's really pissed that he's wearing a shirt tonight, by the way. My friend Kevin Seconds had a coffee shop in Sacramento, and he let me do a Monday night show called Monday Night Crudo, and we bring all of the students there after camp to watch wrestling and drink coffee all night. The Brawl Boys. DJ Riz, thank you for being an angel that came through our lives. To the twins, I don't speak jive, so I only understand maybe a third of what you guys say. But you're always really nice to me, you're always friendly to me, and that means a lot to me, so just thank you. Thank you for being who you are. With luxury, even though you told my wife once to sit on your thumb at a wrestling show. And she brings it up every time she's eating. That's the one who told me to sit on his thumb. I know, honey, he was in character. At least I hope he was saying it in character. Anyway, we partied in hot tubs, pouring champagne over each other. And yes, that is as homoerotic as it sounds. We ran up hotel bills. We were never asked to work for that promotion again. You could be covered from head to toe in title belts, and that still won't be enough. It still won't be enough to say what kind of champion you are of this business, of this art, and to each and every one of these men and women who get in this ring and do what they love. I want to come out of retirement, win the SPW title, and immediately job it out to you. Josh Littell, Sir Samurai, I'd like to thank you for leaving Jim Cooley's highly successful Hardcore Wrestling Alliance and joining SPW and becoming my most heated rival and also one of my dearest friends. Thank you for taking the wheel at SPW and always leaving the door open for me to come back. Thank you for letting me bring two things that I love, professional wrestling and punk rock, and thank you for letting me bring a ring into as many punk rock shows as we could to expose this glorious art to as many people as possible. Thank you to CJ, Timmy, and Drake for keeping my little hometown fed going. And I swear, I'm going home soon. There's so many other wrestlers I need to thank. Bobby Hart and everyone here at Pro Wrestling Bushido. Savannah Riley for always giving me shit backstage. She's always stealing my towel. Always, if there's something missing out of my bag, she has it. Drake Frost, he's cracked like 3 of my ribs from the bear hugs he gives me. Christina Bonnieri, who I think is in Japan right now, and she always mentions my band whenever she's in an interview. So whenever we have CD sales or T-shirt sales in Chicago or Japan and Mexico, I know it's because of Christina. So thank you. Riv and Levi, who are my 2 most favorite heels to watch in the ring. I fucking love it when Levi takes a hit. No one sells a punch like he does. Johnny Plinko and Ryan Crowler, who I think are 2 of the funniest people I know, period, hands down. Alexis Dorefko, even though we used to nickname you Sandbag, thank you. Still do? Okay. I want to thank Dorefko and Hellfire for always being cordial and friendly to me. The Blanchards up in Oregon. Sheep Kanabati, you sexy suntan god, you. D-Torch, Cassie Summers, Lance Bermuda, and a ton of other wrestlers I know I'm forgetting right now. We also, and Mr. Alexander brought it up earlier, we have some of the best referees in Northern California. Sparky, Toby, thank you for being who you are and doing all that work. I don't think he's here, but please pass the message that I was so happy that Guido was the referee in my final match. And I don't know if that's bad or not, but still, I thought he was great. Sean and Will, the announcers from SPW, thanks for letting me give you shit all the time. Towards the end of my run, I wanted to take the time to work with the younger wrestlers and kind of help them slow down for my own safety. And so that they didn't have to start every match with a 450 suicide dive out, so that they can slow it down a bit. And I wanted to work with younger wrestlers, and which at my age wasn't a hard thing to find, but still, the Big Ugly, the first person he had me feud with was a wrestler who was going under the name of El Hijo de Chupacabra. Now he's known as Chupacabra. And at the time, he and I were seriously having some personal issues that we were dealing with, and we settled it like men, with spandex, wrestling masks, and a cage. And the evolution of that character from XL to the most recognizable in-demand wrestler on the West Coast, Chupacabra, I am so honored that I got to play a small part in that evolution. So thank you, Chupacabra. Another wrestler was Virgil Flynn. Thank you for slowing down so much, Virgil. Thank you for making me look like $1 million in the ring. It was an honor to have a feud with you. Mike Hayashi, my final feud as an active wrestler. I knew that this was going to be my last run, and as in the months leading up to that, after the shows, I would just sit there alone in the locker room, looking down at my boots, and Ugly would come in and say, "You okay, Flop?" And I'm like, "I'm okay, boss. I'm okay." I didn't tell him that this was going to be it for me. I think he kind of knew, though, as I went out for that last match, and I did the dutiful service to Hayashi in that ring. Ugly had all of the wrestlers come out and surround the ring for me. And when Ugly came in and gave me a hug, I told him, I'm going to end it right here, boss. And the look on his face, he's like a little kid that was just told there's no Santa Claus. Sorry, kids. He said, "You're going to take off your mask?" I said, "No, fuck that, no way. Girls think it's sexy, no." I said, "No, boss, I'm just going to retire right now. I want to go out right now." And I took my boots off, I said some things on the mic, and I left him in the ring. I'm glad they brought it back to me because those things were expensive. And I got to go out on the shoulders of guys like Rick Luxury. fucking amazing is that? And I just want to say to the new guys like JR, Brian, Joe, Brittany, and PJ, you're going to meet some of the biggest assholes in the world because of wrestling. But you're also going to meet some of the most amazing human beings. Some of the most genuine, loving, beautiful people in this world can be found in independent wrestling. And I'm so excited when I see you guys going out there and experience what I started experiencing, what I still cherish, what I will never, ever forget. The good news for all of you, there's only one last person I want to thank. And that is the trendsetter, Adam Thornstone. Not rock legend scum Adam Thornstone, who I think no one does what he does in this ring better than him. Not Adam DeBoer, who I have an unhealthy man crush on. Adam, we're like 6 beers away from butt sex. I'm just letting you know that right now. Sorry, Sarah. I saw him first. But I want to tell the story of the only time Adam and I ever had a one-on-one match. And I won, by the way. It was at one of these shows at the old Colonial Theater where we were kind of doing a crossover with this local magazine, and it was going to have bands and wrestling and all that. And it was a packed house of about 20 people. And Ugly's going over the booking, and he's like, all right, Flops, you and Thornstone. He always called him Thornstone. I think he still does it just to piss him off. He's like, you and Thornstone, go about 10 minutes. Flaco, you go over with your little gimmick, and there you go. So, and I didn't really know Adam at this time. I knew him as one of the guys from Good and Plenty. And I think that he was the one that didn't have the giant penis stuck in his pants. Did I mention the Reno boys? Oh, Luster, Malachi, Corey, Drake, and Paul Isadora, who I was honored to be his tag team partner in his first pro match, and I was honored to manage him for his first title run. Notice I didn't say his only title run, his first title run in SPW. And back to Adam, so we had this match, and I go to Adam. I was still green. I was only in the business I was only trained for maybe like a year to 2 years at this point, and I asked Adam, all right, so what do you want to do? I really didn't know him. And he's like, I don't like canning my shit. We'll call it out in the ring. And I'm like, the fuck? I might be the most over guy in this company, but I couldn't have a match unless it was canned and unless I had someone who knew how to make me look like $1 million. And I knew that. And I think Adam saw the look of sheer terror in my eyes. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, don't worry, just listen to me, take care of me, and trust me. And the match we had is not going to be on the Adam Thornstone 3 DVD disc set. It's not even going to be on the Adam Thornstone DVD disc set. I think I threw a missile dropkick that landed right about here. He sold it like $1 million. Made me look like a champ out there. I made sure to sell to the rope so he could choke me and strangle me and piss off those 24 people out there. What I learned in that match, the communication between two wrestlers, the communication with the referee, the interaction with the fans. Your number one priority, put that other person over. Who cares how the match ends? You put that other person over. And more importantly than any of that, trusting each other and taking care of each other out there. You can have the same match with your road wife 100 times, but when you can go in there and do that with someone you just met, that is the beauty, that is the art of professional wrestling. That is what makes me in awe of everyone who gets in this ring. Society will never respect you for the artists that you are. The only people who are going to respect you are the same people who are paying those dues and the loved ones they have at home. When I was a kid, everyone wanted to be Batman, Superman. I wanted to be Ultraman or Mil Mascaras. And I got to live out a dream. of being a professional wrestler. And there's so many people who walk the earth today who never ever know what it's like to live a dream. And all of these people I mentioned played a part in my dream, and I will never ever be able to thank you enough. I have lived such a blessed life because of you guys. To me, this is more than just a piece of paper in a frame. This is the pinnacle of my dream. And I thank you, I love you, and I hope that nothing but great things happen to each and every one of you. Thank you.